This is Movietone. Geoffrey Shirley reporting. A lovely day for the national, or should it be international, with the hammer and sickle there among other flags. People had come in their thousands, some just to see the world's most famous chase, some to make a spot of lolly, some unwittingly to do the bookies a good turn. In the paddock, the Russian entries, Relief and Grifel, looking a trifle downcast. But their jockeys, Ponomarenko and Prakov, were quite ready for the fray. As top weights, Relief and Grifel led the parade. Merriman, last year's winner. Mr. Watt, winner in 1958. Oxo, who won the next year, and that stalwart nationalist, Weinborough. Getting into line now, and Jimaroo lashes out at Merriman. Very naughty, but no harm done. And away they go on the quarter-mile gallop to the first jump. A field of 35. Jump number 1 took toll as usual, Floater and several more, but we can't stop for them. The going's on top and the pace a real crackerjack, just the day for breaking Golden Miller's record of 9 minutes 20.4 seconds, which has stood since 1934. Fresh winds in front of Brian Ogue, Scottish Flight and Ernest. Good view of the race, isn't it? And here we come up to Beecher's Brook. Fresh winds leading. And Brian Ogue loses his jockey. Prakov had parted company from Grifel, but he remounted and carried on. Fresh winds led the field round the top of the course on the way to the canal turn. So far, nothing very dramatic, but it's a very fast race, and all 3 previous winners still in the running. John Joe, by the way, replaced Merriman as favourite, but he hardly comes into the story. Fresh winds had now left the field far behind and was accompanied by a loose horse, T-Fiend, who'd lost his jockey at the first jump. The leader got so far ahead we thought we'd see where the rest were. And who's that, I wonder, going by road? Over the 14th jump, it was Fresh winds, still going like a gale, with Imposant, Scottish Flight, Merriman and others in the slipstream. The water jump never seems to present much difficulty, but by now, Fresh winds had the next leaders on his heels. Except for Grifel, who presently jumped the water rather badly and was pulled up. A very sporting effort all the same. Fresh winds in front on the second round, and this is where Nicolaus Silva begins to show up. Can't very well miss that grey, can you? He's almost white. Jump 19, and that's the end for Fresh winds. Can't remember a national when a first-round leader got much further than this. Now it's Nicolaus Silva, Weinborough and Merriman who take up the story. Merriman, number 3, nearest the camera, certainly began to look as if he had the race in hand. Surely, at any rate, it must be one of these 3. Gray, Weinborough and Merriman led over Beecher's. Merriman, heavily backed but carrying 11-12, was evidently putting in a bid now for that very rare distinction of winning twice. At the canal, Merriman was just in front of Weinborough and the Grey. Nicolaus Silva and Merriman held on, but Weinborough faded. and Kilmore had taken his place with O'Malley Point not far away. The closing phase of this national was obviously going to be a real thriller. Merriman all out to win again, and Nicolaus Silver out to be the first grey to win the national since the Lamb did it in 1871, 90 years ago. But Nicolaus Silver just had the edge, and with Beasley riding him hard just as Ansell was putting pressure on Merriman, it was a really tremendous run for home. Merriman couldn't close that gap. In the event, he only just beat O'Malley Point for second place, but the gallant grey came thundering in to win by 5 lengths. What a triumph, and what a magnificent national. The winner's time was only a couple of seconds outside the record. I don't suppose that worried jockey Beasley or owner Mr. Charles Vaughan. I don't suppose it worried Nicolaus Silver either. He was only concerned in getting his wind again and getting himself a quiet weekend.